I'm BJ. Welcome back to your weekly whiskey, wine, beer, and all things barrel-aged podcast. Joining us tonight is our special guest.
Ken's back!
Hey, everyone.
Ken's back! Welcome back, Ken.
Ken Hungy!
Ken.
It's several months, so thanks for having me.
Dude, when was the last time we've had you on the show? I think it's probably
maybe summertime?
Yeah, I was going to say 6 months ago.
We were definitely drinking some Old Carter, I feel like.
We were. I think you were here for the Old Carter Rye show.
Old Carter.
I will say that after the show, I'll have to show you some of the new bottles I picked up because I won a few participating in some fireballs out there for those degenerate gamblers of whiskey. I say that because definitely on bourbon bottles is definitely a level of degeneracy that is second to none. So.
It's different than a razzle.
Different than a razzle, but it's still gambling.
It's definitely liquor gambling.
It's liquor gambling. And for those that don't know, and look it up, don't, because you'll go down the rabbit hole of spending money you don't want to spend.
And potentially losing and not winning anything. Not just losing,
there's always, beginner's luck is a thing.
You're going to win.
You're going to find them. No, you're going to find them, and then you're going to win. And you're going to win your first couple of picks. You're going to win a couple bottles, and then that's going to give you the bug. And then you keep playing, and you keep playing. And I haven't won a bottle in ages. Anyway, Larry, welcome.
No,
Good to have you on the show. Thanks for joining.
Can I call out that name, though? I saw it immediately out of the corner of my eye. No, what's the full name?
What is that? I don't know how to pronounce that. What is that word?
Juliet Larry.
What is? I don't even
Hi
know.
from Chicago. This is the greatest Blues Brothers reference I've ever seen.
Oh, I didn't know that. My apologies.
Hello.
It might be aging you.
And I hope that you're on a mission from God.
All right. Anyway.
I love it. Welcome to the show.
Hold on. I mentioned
This is what I love about the show. You guys are already off the rails. It's great.
Yes!
Because I got a quick off the rails comment about aging me. I said a Ferris Bueller reference the other day, and somebody was like, "Wow, you're old," and I was just
out of
floored. I said, "Oh, is that Abe Froman, the Sausage King of Chicago?"
And somebody said that was aging you?
Crickets in the room of people I was talking to, and I'm looking around like, seriously?
Wait.
That's still a great movie. You could be young and like that.
Thank you, Ken.
Yes. I feel like that is a movie that transcends generations.
It transcends time and generations.
But you missed an opportunity. I'm going to call you out for missing an opportunity.
What did I miss?
So you said, is that Abe Froman? And that opens the door for somebody else to back you up and say, the Sausage King of Chicago? And then you can have two people who can get it on the same reference.
I know. I was in this whole room. And again, I should have scoped the room out, and it was a younger crowd. But still, it really dated me a little bit.
Well, no, and that's when you get to double down. You could have doubled down and went, anyone.
Anyone? If they didn't get that reference,
it's sad.
You don't deserve to be
that movie.
No, those people don't deserve to be hanging out with you.
That's true.
All right, we digress. We are off the rails already. Thank you, Ken, for bringing that up. We have a wonderful Elijah Craig show. Uncle Pumpkin, did you make it home safe? Hope you made it home safe from your Vegas trip.
Oh, he did.
And where did he go? Did he to California too? Where did he go? He's all over the place.
All over the place. He went wine tasting in Temecula.
Oh, wow.
And San Ynez Valley and so
I'm going to be honest with you. I picture Uncle Punky, since he's from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, like in an Amish wagon, like just driving down the road.
All right, come on. Let's go, Diane. Let's go back home.
or a horse and buggy clippity clopping down the road. Anyway.
Yeah, the Famish.
Again, big show tonight. Big show tonight.
Well, look at what we have in front of us. We got Ken. We got all this
Craig.
Foreground whiskey.
Big asterisk. The one we do not drink here, because I'm going to tell you right now it's not good, is Toasted Barrel.
Oh, I know.
Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel is not worth the money.
It's bad.
Ken, do you have any input on Toasted Barrel?
Do you like it?
Do you agree? Do you like it? Do you disagree?
I dislike it, but it's my wife's favorite bourbon.
Oh,
no way! But I don't like it, so I have some stocked up for her.
All right, Dr. C likes it.
She really likes it.
She does.
Does she say why? Is it just
she just likes it?
Okay.
So
different strokes.
For those of you that don't know,
it goes really good in old fashioned. I can say that.
Oh,
okay. All right. I'll give you that.
It's potent. So you've got small batch.
We have
private
small batch.
barrels, single barrels. Then there's toasted
Wait,
barrel.
there's even a rye. I have a rye.
Yeah, we don't really like the
rye's
rye.
not good.
Then you got toasted barrel, which is a single barrel that is in a barrel that has been further toasted than the regular charring. So what do? They do a char 4, and then they further toast beyond a char 4 to give you your toasted barrel. So it really adds some extra char for sugar caramelization. But I don't believe that. I think it actually just makes it really acrid. I don't like it.
Yeah, it has a second custom toasted barrel, adding an extra layer of sweet oak complexity.
Yeah, by sweet oak, we mean Biff Tannins.
Yeah, it's Biff Tannen Central. You guys, you know us in Biff Tannins, especially me. I am not Biff Tannins.
Hello, Big Fly. Is anyone in there?
It's just not that great.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some people love it, so don't get me wrong. Like I said, everybody has a different palate. I suggest if you have an opportunity to try it on your own, try it. The Barrel Buddies here do not recommend it.
Yeah. We're going to steer you clear of that one.
We're going to steer you clear of it.
Save
And
your
we're going
money.
to steer your wallet clear of it, because that is a rant that I will go on later. Continuing my rant as I'm holding the mic here and getting all serious.
Okay, Don King. Hold on.
Patrick Curry, welcome to the show.
Oh, it's coming. But we're gonna hold on. We're gonna hold on to your rant because the other great thing, the pinnacle of Elijah Craig, which just dropped all over everywhere, is this.
I would say
beauty.
it's been out for about a month. So in December,
But it's really starting to hit shelves.
yeah, I mean, it's still out there. It's around town. So here's the thing. I've talked about this before. I think the new MSRP on this is like 180 to 200. But is that correct, gents? I think
Yeah,
that's
right
kind
around
of where
there,
it's floating around. At least here in Vegas. We know East Coast prices could be a little different. But I'm going to tell you guys, like I always say, $10 per year of age is typically what you should be spending. Why are we opening this right now?
Because it's the show.
Why are we
Don't sound like
starting
the present.
with the 18?
And
we
we're nothing
haven't even
like the
touched
present.
small batch yet.
We don't. I did.
You just want to drain pour all this and drink 18.
Yeah,
I
let's
know
go.
you. You're boring.
Off the rails.
Listen, we didn't come here to drink small batch or private barrel or single barrel. You've seen those shows. What you came here tonight was for the newest release
All right,
of
here's the
Elijah
problem.
Craig 18.
Here's the problem. This I would consider one of my daily drinkers. I know that's a little bougie.
Elijah Craig
whatever.
18?
If I could get it all the time, I would drink it all the time. It is the best, hands down, for me, sub $200 bottle of bourbon that you can buy. Hands down, bar none. Jimmy's, double thumbs up, seal of approval, put my little face on a sticker, edit it in post. Elijah Craig 18 is one of my all-time favorites.
Well, you've given me a great Instagram.
There is some variations year to
Single
year,
barrel, right?
single barrel. So you get a little bit of variation, as we said, because each barrel is unique based on where it's located in the warehouse, the rick house. If it's on a lower floor, middle tier, high floor, getting a lot of sun, or down staying cool while it's aging. 18 years can get a lot of complexity, a lot going on. I already smell it. The nose already is like I can smell it from here. And I am like, wow. Really quick, get into the chat. Does it go well? Or Uncle Punky's asking you, does it go well with $100 breakfast? Is what he wants to know.
Well, if you saw my post this morning,
Then
I did have a $100 breakfast. I would say yes.
Larry, that's okay. So Larry said he's stuck with SoCo because it's all his wife, Southern Comfort. That's all his wife's going to get him. But I'm going to tell you right now,
Soco.
we are going to go down the
Nothing wrong
line.
with that.
We're going to go down the line of Elijah Craig. And if you have the opportunity to go grab some small batch, I think you're going to get 3 thumbs up from these guys here. That is probably one of the best values in bourbon today.
Agreed.
What, $25, $29, $30?
With whiskey
And I would
inflation,
say-
$29.
I think value is probably going to be a theme with all these models.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We should be sponsored by Elijah Craig for as much
Would
as we
love it.
talk about it.
Would love
And as
Elijah
much as
Craig
we
sponsorship.
love Elijah Craig, because we do,
Yeah.
we can't talk enough about this whiskey, about this distiller. This is something that every single one of you should have if you don't already, and if you used to have it and don't have it currently, should
Get it.
immediately go back out.
It's a
and get it.
must-have in your bar. Any of
Agreed.
them. any of them except Joseph Barrel.
I feel like Elijah Craig commands respect.
It absolutely does.
Anybody that sees it and goes, as James usually says, "Oh, Granddad's whiskey, huh?" Listen, they are just jealous that they don't have one and they wish they were drinking it. So go ahead and offer them a pour.
And I think it gets a little bad rap because, to your point, it does kind of have that old timer vibe. I think people see the name, they're a little turned off by it. Is that off-putting? What was that reaction? I really couldn't.
It's a wow.
That.
It's a wow. It's a wow. It's a wow. It's a wow.
The nose
is incredible.
It's unbelievable.
Okay, all right. I've got a story for you. The story is truly a bourbon for the avid collector. Our 18-year-old Elijah Craig bourbon is bottled solely from the contents of one barrel. Not the mingling of many. Only a handful of barrels of Kentucky bourbon have been allowed to age so long. Of these limited barrels, our master distillers hand select only those of the highest quality and bottle the contents as individually numbered single barrel. In 1789, Reverend Elijah Craig, who is credited with being the father of bourbon, became the first to age his whiskey in charred oak barrels. Since then, Elijah Craig 18-year-old single barrel has garnered some of the industry's most prestigious accolades, including Whiskey of the Year and double gold in the San Francisco World Spirits Competition.
Wow. Quite the story.
The Reverend Elijah Craig.
So I want to talk a little bit about aged bourbon. Okay, and I know that some of our fans.
So many thoughts. I'm ready.
Exactly. First of all, get into the chat. Chris Conrad, hello from the CCC. Hello.
Cheers.
Hello.
To the CCC.
And Uncle Punky does a little heart. EC heart. Absolutely. I want to say I'm going to make probably not a bold statement. I think you guys will agree with me. I think 18 years is kind of peak aging for bourbon. I don't really think you should be aging bourbon over 18 years. And I say that
interesting
because there's some older stocks out there that's over 18 years old that is just not good. For some reason, there's bourbon as it ages. There's kind of a peak aging, and it falls actually between 4 to 8 year. I almost want to say 6 to 8 year, but there's some really good 4-year juice out there. But that's kind of the ideal window of aging bourbon. Bourbon, people. We're talking bourbon. Go for it, Ken, please. We love your input.
Good about anything over 15 years to 18 years, kind of those last 3 years of where bourbon's still good.
Yes.
Is it doesn't need to be high proof. Everyone chases the 120 plus proof stuff.
Doesn't need it.
And that's great for stuff that's 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, because it needs that behind it.
The oomph.
But this Elijah Craig is 94 proof. Some of the best bourbon I've had that's been 15, 16, 17 years has been 100 proof, less. It's all good.
Yeah.
The age really means you can have something that's been proofed down. You're not going to have your palate blown, and you're just going to get so much flavor, so much behind it without having to back it up by just coming straight from the barrel. You can have the master blenders, master distillers actually do their magic because the age is it just provided so much flavor.
Spilling all over the ground right now because you didn't lean over and pick it up.
Yeah.
Figures. We'll get to that later.
I just spilled some water. That's all that happened.
Didn't spill bourbon, so.
Are you asking if we brew beer, Larry? Maybe clarify that because yes, we have brewed beer in this household before. So yes, Ken, I definitely agree with you on most of those points, right? There's just something about, I think it doesn't have to be higher proof to be good. And I know the problem is that the marketing strategy of a lot of NDPs and regular producing distilleries are let's just bash them with the hazmat. Everybody's like, give me the 65, 70%. Guys, I'm going to tell you right now, we have some prime example, Blanton straight from the barrel, the 68 to 70 proofers are way too unbearably hot. Some of the old Foresters that are 68, 69, 70%.
Challenging.
God, it's
challenging.
Almost...
Look at this. I got to give you another one.
To get all of that flavor, the years give you the same.
Agreed.
Without the burn.
So I have to talk. I want to challenge. You said the peak.
you don't want to go over 18 years is kind of the limit.
And so we've talked about this, and if you're new to the show, if you haven't been on the show, if you haven't watched the older ones, it's about the barrel lamage, what happens inside of that barrel, right? As your whiskey is breathing in and out of the barrel, and it's taking a molecular structure, right? It's taking pieces of that barrel. Molecular changes are occurring. It can become what we refer to as barrel tea, right? Literally think about soaking a tea bag in water
for too long.
That same interchange of molecules, that molecular interchange is happening. And if you leave it too long, it becomes bitter, and you get something that is no longer good. They say 2 to 3 minutes for tea. If you leave it in there for 15, it's undrinkable. The same can happen with bourbon. You leave it in that barrel for too long, it becomes undrinkable or barrel tea.
Biff tannins turn just barrel tea. You get that barrel, all that charcoaly wood. Like there's some older age statement whiskeys and bourbons out there right now that are just awful.
And you mentioned Scotch, so why can Scotch be 25 plus years and still be good? Is because Scotland is not as hot of a climate as Kentucky, Indiana, and Tennessee.
Bingo. You're looking a lot more.
You don't have that molecular change. You don't have the heat. When you have heat in the barrel, it sucks all of the alcohol.
Think of a summer in Kentucky, you guys. It is almost unbearable.
It's hot. It's humid. And like Ken was just saying, it goes into that barrel, right? It's sucking into those barrel staves. And at night, when it gets colder, those barrel staves are compressing, and it's literally squeezing the juice out of the barrel staves back into the interior of the barrel. And so you're literally like using those like sponges, but on a really slow, very dense process. So yeah, I think thank you for sharing that, because you're right. In Scotland, that huge shift in fluctuation.
Also, is it that they're, and maybe I'm wrong, so please correct me here because I'm not a big Scotch guy, that a lot of the barrels are not toasted at all. They're just virgin, like they're just wood barrels, right?
Well, there's a lot of times in Scotch, it's not even about toasting. They're using wine and sherry, and they're using pre-used
Madeira wine, sauternes. Yeah, they're using
where bourbon has to be in a brand new barrel. Right?
Barrel, yes.
Toasted.
And Scotch can be a reused bourbon barrel, or can use a barrel that's already had that sponge effect happen over the years. And it's
wines, whiskeys, Madeiras, spirits. They're using a pre-used barrel to give it a piece of personality.
Larry, you bring up a great question. If we brew moonshine, I would love to. I'm thinking about actually getting a still. I've been talking about maybe a small 5 or 10 gallon still I want to put in my garage. I hope the feds aren't listening. I would like to start distilling. Hey, I think Nevada allows up to 10 gallons of personal consumption.
He's not looking to sell.
I have samples for days, I'm sure.
He's looking for medicinal. It's medicinal. This is
medicinal.
Purely experiment.
So anyways, my point being, if you know a guy that makes stills or have a recommendation, please let me know, because I am in the market probably in the next few months. So
all right,
there you go. Anyway.
This has been fun. Good conversation. If you got other questions, leave it in the chat, or if you're watching this afterwards, put it down in the comments. But we've got to get into this. This nose, I'm going to tell you right now, I think it smells like strawberry shortcake. There is like a fruity berry, a creamy vanilla.
So yeah, I would even say go further to strawberry jam, just something that's
jammy. It's jammy.
It's got like those berries.
It's almost figgy. I'm getting like a fig and vanilla.
It's definitely vanilla, but vanilla is going to be a given, right?
But I'm getting like a pepper. I'm getting like a peppery, oaky afterbirth. No, like an oaky back end that I don't like that. You guys know me. It's kind of like Biff tannins. I'm getting some of that oakiness.
But the oak, it's a sweet oak. Like it's not
that's
like
nice.
Wow, that is incredibly, ridiculously smooth. And I hate to use smooth, but it's like you're drinking butter.
You probably just send a bunch of people off.
I'm sure I did.
It's so smooth.
How dare you?
Hey, Jimmy, is it also delicious? Oh my God.
The mouthfeel.
Do you know anything of what you're talking about?
I know, right?
But it's like fashion or art, right? When you know the rules, you can break the rules.
Exactly.
You can say something smooth when you know it really is. You know why.
Yeah, it drinks. I think what you're trying to say, it drinks really easy
It's an easy drinker. I think that age statement
Oh.
really pulls back that alcoholic content. Yeah, it's 94 proof, but wow, that is just pleasant. I will say this much personally. I feel like there is kind of an oak punch up front. There's a tiny bit kind of like.
I like oak, so that's
all right.
That's going to be a positive for me.
I like oak when it's done well, and this is done well. It's just like I like coconut in my beer when it's done well, and it's hard to do. This is oak done really well.
Wow.
It's like, so have you guys ever smoked on a pipe? Have you ever smoked pipe tobacco?
Yeah, like a Cavendish or something.
This is like smoking a really good Virginia cut, sweet Cavendish blend. It's got a nice, strong punch that just mellows out for days. I mean, this has got a great, strong linger. And to your effect, a beautiful, creamy, buttery finish that it is like
it
butter.
Is buttery.
It's like if you
buttery.
I get like
on
butter.
a piece of oak and ate it, but in a good way.
In a good way.
Butter on rye toast.
Hey, just getting to a little bit of the chat. Patrick Curry, I want to go back to yours. I missed your message. He's saying Elijah Craig Barrel Proof B520 is so good. It's one of the best ECVPs out there.
520 was amazing.
520 is great. I actually may have one of those. We'll see what we have. I don't know which ones I broke out. So definitely not Larry. David, welcome to the show. Cheers. Haven't seen you on before. So welcome.
521.
And
We got a 521.
be able to
B521?
Yeah.
do an 18-year bourbon, it takes some skill from the distillers, from the people at Elijah Craig, Heaven Hill, which is the larger company that owns the brand of Elijah Craig.
Yeah.
Not everyone can do it. You can't just put bourbon in a barrel for 18 years and it's going to be good.
So David says, so David's saying B520 and C920 are big hitters.
You know, I remember that year. It was like, I think that was the year that we were like, that was like autumn in a glass.
No, because you think about it, plus in that year, the pandemic, right? I think that we were able to find bottles really easily in the shops because there weren't a lot of the flippers out there shopping. So there was actually like an influx of product that was in town, especially with the casinos closed. All these casinos, you guys, have huge allocations of barrel proofs and private store picks that they weren't open, so they weren't taking them. So distributors were dumping them off at stores, and we were scoring amazing picks for most of 2020.
There were even bars that were opening up, literally saying, "Hey, buy our stock." We're going to the bar.
Yeah, we can't drink
bottles.
it. Yeah. Stolen barrels, right? Those were the stolen bottles, stolen barrels.
He says open the B520. We'll have to dig and see what we got here.
If we've got one, yeah.
We'll start with what we have.
I think I tried to trade that from you once upon a time.
Could have been.
Tonight we've got a 2-minute a zombie. The Elijah Craig.
Shout out to Beer Zombies for their pick. We just picked that up.
That was a private pick. We've got the B521 that we pulled out, and then we've also pulled out B522.
There you go.
We got a thing for the B. We've had some A's. We're not a big fan of the A's. Do you want to think out Top Feed, or was it Top Feed or was it?
I don't remember. Maybe it would have been Redbeard. Oh, it was Redbeard. Redbeard sent us that bottle.
Sent us the A, and we were super.
I hope he's doing okay. I haven't seen him for months.
I hope you're good. I hope Johnny's good.
Oh, Redbeard,
like a mainstay.
You're doing okay.
Yeah.
He used to be on the show all the time.
Shout out to Redbeard. Hope to see.
No, but remember there was that storm, and he's like, "Hey guys, I'm battening down the house for the storm," and then we never heard
from him again.
All right, we're gonna have to do some follow up. If anybody's in touch,
anybody knows Redbeard. Redbeard Racing. Everybody.
I think he's emailed us, so we can email him.
I'll have to get back out there.
I really hope he's okay. Like, that's serious.
But a huge shout out for the very thankful A521 that he sent last year.
Yes,
after 9. Maybe he sent us A921.
Yeah, it was that.
After I dropped it in your
in the driveway, and I just remember smelling all that like cake batter. I'm like, so sad.
But he sent us one anyways.
All right, so what do we got in the plastic here? We got a little small batch.
Do you want to score this?
I kind of want to.
We got to score this.
You want to score it now?
We score while it's in our heads, because then we'll give a little try to these.
Can I get some more? Can I get a little more?
Yeah.
Short pour this
and while he's pouring,
I did pour
but you don't have to pour. Just give me a little bit.
The knock on the Elijah Craig 18 is the low proof for the cost, but At the end of the day,
Perfect.
you want something that's
Thank you.
tasty. You want something that is enjoyable, and this does that.
You're gonna be sad about it?
It hits everything that you want in a bourbon.
I agree.
Don't get knocked by the low proof. Don't get knocked by the cost. There are a lot of bourbons that are 7 years that are high proof that are more money than this that probably couldn't even come close.
David, thank you. He just subscribed. Can't believe he hasn't seen this before.
David,
So cheers.
thanks,
David.
man.
I appreciate that. You know, we're just some lowly guys here in our, I don't know, do we have 5K subscribers? I think we're over 5K.
We're over 5K, yeah.
For being an outsider who's on the show every once in a while, I can say that these two are some of the hardest working people in whiskey YouTube.
Cheers! I want to cheers.
They are dedicated and do a different show than everyone else does. They're not going to bring you all of the hype bottles, even though we have one today.
We have a very high bottle
Honest
tonight.
review of obtainable stuff from any price range. It's really...
That means a lot. Thank you, Ken.
Thanks, Ken.
And we try to do that right. We always say unbiased reviews. Obviously, we all have personal preferences and personal rants, especially that I go on.
That's a fact.
But I think it's all validated, and I think I can back up all of the rants that I have. Larry's asking about Manarino. Larry, we're going to get him back on the show here soon. Since we've all have busy schedules.
Yeah,
we will get him back.
Rocking and rolling, man.
We just have been super busy. I'm doing a lot of traveling for work. BJ's just all over the place too.
We're about ready to go on a cruise.
We're gonna plan. We will definitely get Manarino back.
Schedule tornado.
We might have a little. Maybe we'll talk a little St. Patty's Day with Mr. Manarino. Maybe we'll see.
Interesting.
We might have something in the works. I just thought about that. But we'll see. Mrs. Askins, good to have you. Thank you for welcoming our guests. But she's joined the show as well.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So
special guests on the thread too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, so what are we doing next? Because I'm going right back to this 18.
Why change it up? I mean, we've got the special guest that just shows.
No, here's the problem. Because you started us off with this, and now we're going to go into small batch, and I'm going to be like, don't want it.
Yep.
Not good. All right, let's rate
That was
this
the
18.
point.
BJ, start us off with the rating.
Okay. So, David, since you're our newest subscriber and watcher, just kind of
our process.
Lead you into the process. We really look at 3 sections of what a bourbon, a whiskey, or any barrel spirit is going to bring to us, and that is nose, taste, value. And so I'll start us off with the nose. This nose is incredible. First of all, I don't think it smells like bourbon. I think it smells like I said, strawberry shortcake. I think
that's wild that you're getting that.
It's got like strawberries and some kind of like fresh gardeny leaves, cream, vanilla.
A lot of buttercream, marzipan. I'm getting a lot of that.
But there is like a fruit. There's like a fruity, like a red fruit.
My first thought was like a fruit salad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the jammy.
It's got some fruit action. It says sugary. It doesn't necessarily drink sugary, but it's a great complex nose. And I think we could sit here and probably pull this nose apart for hours. And I think when you can enjoy a nose as much as you enjoy a bourbon,
yes, Hank.
That's a 3 out of 3, right?
Welcome, Hank. I didn't see you join us.
Is that Hank Gurk?
He's drinking some Crown and Coke with a Corona back. There we go.
Yeah, that a boy. I think that the flavor profile on this, it's a nice full body. This is a nice full body bourbon, which is to say it's not viscous or thick, but it really coats the entire palate. I think that the flavor profile here is great. It's like tugging on a nice pipe. It's got a good sweet oak. It's
hold on.
A great buttery flavor.
Hold on, to your point, because you keep mentioning the pipe.
Tobaccos.
Not like glass pipe, like
splash. I just want
please have another splash.
this out as well.
Tobacco. There is a tobacco,
Tiny splash.
a very back end flavor of kind of like a rich pipe tobacco in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
It just has a very pleasant kind of sweet tobacco flavor.
Yeah.
BJ mentioned Cavendish. I think that blends really well with the vanilla elements in this, that dry oakiness that Ken's talked about.
Mm-hmm.
All of this comes together into an 18-year, sub $200 bottle of bourbon that is fairly available. Yes, it releases, once a year? I think around Christmas
heavily
time.
allocated, yep.
Heavily allocated. But I try to find it, guys. It's still out there in Vegas. Anybody that's watching the show from Vegas, there's stores right now I can refer you to. It's $180 on the shelf today. I'm not going to mention names because
Not
it's
yet, no.
flavors that I don't want
And
to.
they're in places I would never expect to go find.
There's some honey holes still out there in Vegas. So
3 out of 3 on the flavor and the palate. And then for value, James mentioned it great, $10 per year of aging. So 18 years.
this is what you want to look at.
I think that's
kind of what you
good,
want to.
It's a good base
It
point.
can be 10 to 20.
And so I think
and that's kind of an old reference from a couple of years
it
ago.
is.
Prices have gone up since then.
Oh.
Right? So.
Yeah,
Don't get me started on prices.
But
But
still, like using that 10 years per year,
it's a good reference.
it's probably on the lower end now, right?
So-
and if you want something like that, you want Malort.
Wait, what's he asking for?
He goes,
No.
bring me something that is like throwing knives into a pressboard bookshelf.
Hey, Hank, you want to hang out and drink some Malort? We should.
The what is it? The state drink of Illinois.
That's
The
right.
City drink of
Well,
Chicago.
Larry should know.
Larry should know about Malort.
Larry knows about
Come on, Larry.
Malort.
Yeah, he better. He's from Chicago.
I bet you could pour one back right now. So
He's
it's
like, I
okay.
can't believe
You
these guys are
have a
talking about
Malort
Malort.
show, right?
We do have a Malort, sure. I believe we even have some Malort we could take.
Anyway,
Anyways, $180.
yeah.
And I think right now in town we can go pick it up for $190. This to me is a 9 out of 10, or as I'm going to give it on the 100 scale, a 96 out of 100.
Wow.
This is a beautiful. You said this could be a daily drinker for you.
Yes.
The last time I had this.
If, right? I'm not being like, oh,
Right.
I'm just pinkies up drinking it every day. I'm not. I only have like one bottle of this, but
Last time I
I
had
wish
this,
I could drink it every day.
I was not that thrilled. Having it again, I am thoroughly impressed. 96 out of 100, a 9 out of 10. I would even give it a blown away bonus if we were doing the old scoring system.
Wow.
Yeah, this might be, to start off the year of 2023,
That's great.
this might be my top bourbon pick of 2023, and this is saying a lot to start the year. So
It's very strong. Ken, I'm going to go to you next. Nose, taste, and value. You can either give it the 1 to 10 scoring system or the 0 to 100 scoring system.
And I'll
Shoot.
just say 89, which is good. I don't like giving out really high scores for stuff.
It's fair.
Unless it's
Fair.
something that is life changing, right? And this is very close.
Yeah.
I know Elijah Craig 18 gets a lot of bad press.
It
because
really does.
Again, I know I've kind of stuck on this, but the low proof, everyone wants to harp on that.
why?
They want
and we'll
the
get
Jake's
there with
hazmat,
the
everybody wants
B5 with the
barrel proof.
Yeah.
B121. I can't even say that right, but it's amazing, and
Yeah.
it is a great bourbon that people don't appreciate as much as
Thank you. I just want to echo off that. So you gave it, what, an 89?
Yep.
Great score. Do you want to add anything to nose, taste, value, and
I would say the
justification?
nose is what's driving the high score for me.
Nice.
The taste is good. Don't get me wrong.
Nice.
Yeah.
The taste is good. Value is right in line. It's probably a little bit overpriced based on that $10 per year, but the nose is almost perfect.
Great.
I love it.
Good to
If the
hear.
nose could be replicated in the taste, it would be 100 out of 100.
Yeah. I want to echo a lot off of what both you guys have said. First of all, with the nose, absolutely incredible. If we were just judging it off the nose alone, like I said when we first started the show and BJ cracked it open, I was like, whoa. Like I got that nose and it was like that kind of that jammy vanilla, like whoa, and like it was all about it. Taste, I'm gonna ding it just a tad, just being Mr. Critical.
Do it.
Because you know me, Biff tannins and the oak, I'm kind of, that's not my thing. Give me the mashed up donut in a bottle of sweet whiskey, just like my beers. And, but I'm going to tell you this, once you get into it, we always say the 3-sip rule, right? Yeah. First sip is your shock to your palate. You just crack open a whiskey at the end of a hard day of work and you're sitting there and that's a shock to the palate. You got to get 3 sips in before you can really get a true taste of it. So, what are we drinking here before I keep going on my rant about the 3
Oh,
sip?
keep ranting. Just
All
keep
right.
ranting.
3-sip rule. You can pour me a new one, whatever you want.
You got one. You're good.
Perfect. Anyway, so yeah, that's me and Biff Tannins. David's right. So he says 18 is just a little too oaky for him. He gets it. I get it too, man. I'm kind of right there with you, right? I think that's what's preventing me from giving it over a 95. I think this is sitting, like I'm having a hard time putting this somewhere between like the 89 and 95 range. I want to give it somewhere in the low 90s. I'm going to say 93. I think it's a 93. But back to the 3-sip rule. Shock to the palate. That second sip, you're kind of really getting into it. You're easing into it. Your palate's like, okay. I'm not drinking poison, which is basically what alcohol is, right? Your body's reacting to it. But then on that third sip, you're like, whoa, that's it. You got a good coating on the mouth. You're really walking into it. You know what you're getting.
Yeah.
You're really starting to get a lot of the flavors, the complexity, that mouthfeel. There's residual bourbon in your mouth that you're tasting, the different elements, breathing in, breathing out. You're getting different tastes. This guy's throwing me off so much. Anyways, that's what I'm giving it. I love this. And I think for value, it's sitting right at like we've all talked about, that $180 to $200.
It's good.
There, guys, I might go on a small rant before we get into our next thing. Don't spend, put your money where your wallet is, right? Like, obviously you're going to do that. But my point is that don't go buy shitty bourbon. Don't go buy shitty whiskey. Don't spend, don't spend $100 on like, oh, I want to try that because some non-distilling producer put some Superman sticker with a little Back to the Future 3D printed car in a triple waxed bottle of shitty non-distillery produced whiskey.
You're not bitter, are you? Are you bitter?
Don't buy it, guys. Just don't.
But it's 130 proof, so it must be good.
Oh, it's got to be.
Thank you, Ken.
I know I'm on the fence tonight, but sorry, everyone.
Trigger moment. But it's like, get a sample.
I bet you like IPAs too, right?
Get a sample, find a friend, taste it. Just let's keep these bottles on the shelf so the prices come down. Because that's what right? It's the market fluctuates based on people spending this money. And they're going to keep it at $100 if people go out there and keep buying it. So stop buying 4 to 6 year shitty whiskey that's not even produced by these guys. That's finished in some dog shit cask just because they want to mask the flavor of bad whiskey for $100.
Okay. Trying to find some cask of some random spirit that no one's ever heard of.
Thank you. Some Naranja orange bullshit wine cask.
Okay. Let's bring it back here, boys. I think we beat this dead horse. They put the curtains up around
Madeira, Sauternes, port.
They haven't even got the gun because it's so dead. They don't need to put the poor bastard out of its memory. Okay?
All right. What's next? Sorry. Hashtag into rant. Hold on, really quick. Let's get to the chat. What do we got? Joe, welcome. I haven't seen you on. Joe says,
hey, Joe.
What do you guys think of the recent Elijah Craig barrel proofs not being in the 130 proof anymore? I think we kind of addressed that, right?
Yeah, I'm ready to go for this next
More high proof doesn't mean better.
Doesn't.
I know people are all like, hazmat, OMG, there's a William LaRue Weller out there that's 70 point something %, and I want to spend $3,000 on it. No.
Jimmy, can you just knock that back real quick? Just knock it back. Do you like that? That was 2 minutes zombie. It's a vanilla bomb.
To answer the question, I think, if you don't mind me kind of introducing.
Please, no, please. We're all about interrupting each other on this show.
This bottle is the B521.
Okay.
And
it's perfect. You're going to share.
Similar to the Elijah Craig 18, got a lot of flack because it was
small batch.
The lowest Elijah Craig barrel proof in several years.
Yes.
And for that reason, people didn't like it. Me personally, it's one of my favorite Elijah Craig barrel proofs that I've had.
Okay.
It's a bottle that I keep going back to at home.
I like this.
And I'll repeat myself again. The Elijah Craig barrel proofs have 12-year age statement, meaning that the blend is a minimum of 12 years. So there's probably older whiskey in there. With stuff that has age to it, you don't need the higher proof.
Yep. So just to bounce off that too. So barrel proof is released 3 times a year. In the first quarter, basically the first part of the year, like the first 4 months, not quarter. So for the first 4 months, it's the A series. So right now we have A123, was just released in January.
Yeah.
And then it's coming in at 125.6 proof.
And what do the numbers mean?
So the numbers mean something that I have no idea. So please explain.
So A is the first batch of the year.
Okay.
1 is the month it was released. So January.
Oh, and then 23 is the year. Okay, I did know the last two.
This is
why Ken is here. Ken, this is why you're invaluable to this show. You're probably going to be on more often. And you don't know.
I'll
yet.
just come with all of the knowledge.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So that's why. So you have 1 for A, 5 for B, so May, and then 9 for C, which is September.
Makes sense.
That's it. That makes sense. Hey, really quick, David says 12 years means buy. Yes, it does. Sourced was always a no-go just 5 years ago. Dude, it was a no-go 2 years ago. Like, let's talk about the whole influx of, I'm just throwing names out here now. Good Times, New Riff.
Oh, yeah. We
National
watched last week's show. We talked a lot about that.
We talked a lot about some of these NDPs that are just all over the country now. I think everybody and their mother that just wants some business idea, they think it's like opening a bar, right? They think it's easy. Oh, let's open up a distillery. It sounds so cool.
Every celebrity.
Yeah, and like it's going to turn to a Casamigos or have $1 billion business. No, you're not. And
don't drink Casamigos.
Thank you.
That too. And here's the thing: all these NDPs, all these barrels, all these shop owners, because shop owners are like 2 to 3 years behind the trend. So now they're just stuck. If you go to all your liquor stores, I'm sure you're just going to see a boatload of a bunch of dog shit, non-distillery producers, bottles just sitting on the shelf that by the end of this year, probably, they're just going to be given away with Buffalo Trace and a Wheatley bottle.
So
they
what
get
I've
higher
heard
BTAC
is the reason that
applications.
started.
What's that?
What I've heard is the reason that all started was a couple of years ago, there were a lot of bourbon enthusiasts, really before the hype hit, right before the hype hit.
Sure.
They were drinking these NDPs, which are the non-distilling producers, and the biggest company for that was MGP.
Yeah, Midwestern grain products.
And as we all know, MGP makes some really good products. But they didn't really have very many products of their own at the time. And so what happened was all of these people were seeing, hey, this is all coming from Indiana, that's MGP. All of these NDPs are really good. So they started buying them all up. And that started kind of the craze of people starting bourbon
because MGP
producing it.
Right. But MGP was also selling, you were getting a lot of older stock then. You were getting the 8 to 12 year bourbon stocks.
And so that craze, because really good bourbon came from these NDPs.
Good. Those first year of NDPs were solid. You're absolutely
And
right.
now you don't have that anymore.
No,
we
they
don't
caught
have
on
the
to it.
13-year
MGP caught on to the craze. And that's where the Remus line, the whole George Remus line came out. And now they're like, screw you guys. You can get nothing. I think it's 6 years now.
You know what? I got to jump in on
this. They
this.
will only distro to those guys 6 years.
That sucks for some of us because there were some good NDPs. I'm going to call out one.
Absolutely.
That was breaking into the market.
And the market was flooded. And everybody and their mother started doing it.
Let's look at Smoke Wagon.
The business plan.
Okay. Aaron with Smoke Wagon is getting raped right now.
It's unfortunate.
It sucks because he puts a good product together.
Yes.
He barrels, ages, and blends right here in Nevada, in Las Vegas. And it's a great product that was just starting to catch great traction and really starting to come into its own, win a lot of awards. Is something that was really starting to catch on.
When he was bottling the 12 to 14, 15 year MGP that he had, and
he's getting 6.
Yeah.
At
8,
best. At
maybe
best.
8. Yeah.
He's getting 6.
Or still has 8. I think he still has some 8 lying around. His Instagram is great. Hey, we love Smoke Wagon. Shout out to you,
we love
Aaron.
it.
Smoke Wagon.
We love it.
Smoke Wagon.
He's a victim of this market.
Exactly.
Yeah, someone who knows what he's doing,
victim of the
knows
market.
how to blend.
He does.
This
it's
bourbon that's
unfortunate.
produced from someone else.
No, but here's the hope, right? Maybe he rides the wave for a few years while he's letting his own barrels sit in Vegas. Guys, we're in the desert. You get an incredible
Huge changes.
Talk about your barrel Lamaze. Super hot during the day, cool at night. You're getting this barrel Lamaze where I think you're actually accelerating the aging process.
So your 18-year turns into 15 years the max.
Right, but I can't wait.
Otherwise,
maybe
it disappears.
maybe there's a little lull right now with Smoke Wagon, but dude, give it 2 to 3 years when he probably has some like 6 to 8 year Vegas aged product.
Remember that like those uncut unfilters between like 65 and 68, 69? Those are like black peach tea bombs.
Oh yeah, some of the black tea and cinnamon and some of those like uncut unfilters were like
you got an older uncut
like,
unfiltered.
You like some of the
I
best
had
stuff.
my first one I bought was Bash 41.
Oh, and 42 was the one that like got all the fame.
Yeah.
42 was like the big word, the San Francisco.
That's when everybody went, oh my God.
Gold Award. Yeah.
So yeah, we're just shouting out on those things.
All right. We digress
all right.
here a
So
little bit.
So I think we've kind of nailed that. Yeah.
Haven't
we
I know we have. This has been a good
We'll
show.
always talk about
This
it.
has been a good
What
show.
are we drinking here? What is this?
Oh, we poured the B521.
All right. Well, cheers, gents. B521.
So this is 118 as a proof. I like this a lot.
So talk a little bit about. So this is barrel proof, which means what?
It's coming out of so this is barrel proof.
So it's not
It's
proofed down.
Not proofed down. It is still a blend. It's not a single barrel, but they haven't proofed it down. They have blended it, so it's
And what
still.
do you mean by proofing down? Can you explain
So that's where you add water. You basically water it down to something that is drinkable, but you still blend it, right? You're blending it to get a specific flavor profile.
Yeah.
You're still looking for something that they can call Elijah Craig. And a lot of, we've talked about this on the show before, but if you missed those shows, so small batches and a lot of your blended whiskeys do that because they are creating a flavor profile, something that is brand specific, something that is recognizable that you go, oh, that tastes like this. We were just talking about Aaron. If you ever want to go on the Smoke Wagon Instagram, which we highly recommend.
Oh yeah, follow him on Instagram.
This man, I mean, he's a crazy cowboy, rootinest, tootinest guy.
Yeah.
But the moment he gets in his blending lab, that man is a genius.
He's got it down.
Puts his lab coat on, his glasses on, and next thing you know, he's like, so this is...
Hold on, if by lab coat you mean his denim Wrangler cowboy shirt,
Correct.
yeah, that's in his
the one
No,
with a cigar.
He talks about
Hey,
the blending,
really
but he'll do it in the lab.
Really quick into the chat. David says Smoke Wagon. He's always going to support him. He has batches with no number batches on them. These are like the pre-20. I think it's like 28.
David, we're glad you're on the show.
25, 24, like the
Welcome.
teens and
That's probably some good.
I have one that's a non-labeled batch behind us. One of these days we'll crack it open.
About that way open.
Yeah, good stuff. And one Desert Jewel. So
Yeah.
looking forward to it one of these days. So barrel proof. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think this is very comparable to the 18 with a little bit more heat and a little bit less oak.
Yeah, I think this is good. And this is 12 years old juice.
I have no complaints with
this.
this. Yeah,
Oddly to me, the nose has more oak, but the palate does not.
Yes, you're right. It's flipped. You're definitely getting more oak on the nose, but I'm getting more sweetness on the flavor, more vanilla.
And
like
in
a custard
2022, last year's release, so they really proofed it up. So they went to a 121 proof, 60.5% for last year's release. Same thing. This was B522.
Ooh, that packs. Oh, it's got a Kentucky.
And so if you're ready for a punch, and just give this a little taster, because this is even more.
Thanks, David. Thanks. It's just the one, right? One of these days we'll crack that open, or use it as some trade bait for something that we want. Who knows?
Yeah, we want one of those blue chilies.
Got one.
No, we don't.
We don't want to drink it.
Just a tiny, just a splash.
Just a splish.
dash.
We just want a splish.
Splish splash. Oh, so this one is not as oak prevalent on that nose.
And so that's why I said age.
Wow.
Age doesn't matter as much when it comes to proof.
Both these are 12 years old by.
Yeah, but warehouse location. Oh, wow. Yeah, what a difference.
The ethanol is super prevalent though, like almost effervescent on that
Ooh,
first
that
sip.
bites
And-
menthol. I'm getting like a menthol bite on that.
And
Ooh.
Yeah.
B522 got a lot more fanfare than 521.
You know,
And
I
don't
like 21
understand
better.
that. 21 is
I like
delicious.
the 21. The 21 was spectacular.
But
this is 22.
Mm-hmm. It's good.
It's good, but it has kind of like a tier. I wouldn't say effervescent, but the menthol, it's kind of a menthol cigarette.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. A menthol cigarette.
Yeah.
You know what?
Not a bad way. That's not an off.
I'm going to tell you why people like this better. I'm going to tell you right now. This is a great way to end it. Here's why people like this better.
Why?
Because the proof is so high on this, it blasts you. That shock is such a blast.
Yeah.
That you go, whoa! And then as it mellows, as it finishes on your palate, it really goes back to that typical Heaven Hill style product of something that is sweet, honey, buttery, soft, and it really mellows out. And I think that makes it pleasant to people who don't really know, or maybe not find the refinedness of something that is pleasant all the way through. So you're getting something that's really unpleasant, oh my God, to something that really relaxes. And I think that people see that as something that defines good whiskey. And I think that is,
and not to sound,
that's why people like it better.
Yeah, and not to sound cookie cutter, but I'm getting a lot of kind of like pepper, little bit of grandma's potpourri and cinnamon.
On that front end, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's kind of not a big potpourri.
As it releases.
Like the potpourri.
I don't like
the fruity.
But do you see what I'm getting at with that grandma's potpourri? Like, you kind of get that in the taste.
But then it has to release to be something good.
Yeah.
And I think that this is a crowd pleaser because people are like,
oh yeah,
oh, you really got to get through that. Oh, and then it's really
but then it's really good. Yeah, and you get,
yeah.
And it really lingers. I think you really get it, like the jowls here. You really get a good linger on the palate.
Yeah.
It does sit with you.
21's better.
It's
521's better.
The 521 is way much more of an easy drinker.
And I think regardless of the proof, I know we'll probably get into this when we score, but it is my opinion that Elijah Craig Barrel Proof is the current best value in bourbon.
Hands down.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You get everything, right? I know.
Preach, Reverend Elijah
I
Craig.
reveal myself as not
Cheers,
being
dude.
a proof hound. But you get the proof on 90% of the batches. You get 12-year age statement, and it's what, 60, 70
bucks.
And you can
It's a
go
deal.
find it, right? Not every store is going to have it, but if you look a little,
One of the best values.
tiny little bit of searching, you can find it.
Dude,
If
we
you
can,
search, you guys can find us.
we can walk into Corey's right now.
We
go to
we
Corey's
have
right
plenty
now.
of stores in Vegas. You can go get barrel.
And you can get
Of
a
some
beef
year.
522. You can go in and get a
Regardless, go
922.
hunt.
Where else can you get a 12-year-old bourbon that's at least 115 proof for
For
$70?
$70.
And
No,
walk into a
no
store
way.
and find
No.
it.
Nobody.
The-
If an NDP had this, they'd charge $150 for it.
So thank you, Heaven Hill and Elijah Craig,
Thank
for
you,
not doing
thank
that.
you, Heaven Hill. Shout out to Heaven Hill.
Because
and Elijah Craig.
you guys are true
Thank you. No, they.
bourbon pleasers.
No, and you
Because
think
we
about
appreciate
all the old timer distillers in Kentucky. You watch these interviews online and like talking about Pappy, talking about Heaven Hill, talking about Jack. They always said this was for the working class man. This was like,
that's what this
kicking
is
off
for.
your shoes and coming home after a hard day of work and sipping on something affordable, enjoyable, and tastes good. And unfortunately, bourbon, we were talking about it earlier, is kind of at like peak. We're peak bourbon hype. We're
God, I
maybe
hope so.
plateaued. Ken
means
said
we're on
we're
the
kind of
down slope.
plateaued. I hope we're on the down slope where these distilleries a couple years ago have really ramped up production. But they know the business model. These companies aren't stupid, right? They're going to keep allocations. They want people to have that FOMO, the fear of missing out. They want to have allocated bottles, and they still want all of these shop owners to be selling all the crap, right? You got to understand, Buffalo Trace, you got to sell Wheatley and Fireball, and for a lot of these brands, you have to sell a lot of their junk to even get an allocated bottle. And these shop owners are struggling, right? Like I've seen posts where they're like, if you want to buy a Buffalo Trace, you have to buy a Wheatley vodka. Or if you want to buy this, you have to buy a bundle. A lot of stores are bundling crap, and it's all like the bottom shelf stuff. Shout out to some really great shops out in SoCal, Cypress. They're a great shop down in is it Anaheim? Where are they at?
La Brea.
If anybody knows. I think no, they're south by Oceanside almost.
Oh.
Anyway, Long Beach maybe, but Cypress they're great. They bundle, but they give great prices. So those guys is a great shop.
And this might be a
Mr.
hot
K's,
take,
another great shop. Shout out to you, Mr.
but
K's.
hot
the
take us.
El
bundles don't piss me off as much as they do for
No, the bundles don't piss me off if it's a solid
Because
price. I'll buy them. I can always make cocktails with Wheatley.
the
I'm okay with
stores
that.
have to buy the Wheatley, they have to buy the Fireball,
Or
they
they
have to
don't
buy the
get the Blantons, or they
And-
don't get the B-Tac.
And so
I
if
get
they
it.
make you buy that stuff in order
It's
to get
all a
the,
system, you
the
guys.
Blantons.
It's all
it's
you
they're not trying to feed you.
business.
They're not trying to
they have to, or they don't get.
All right, before we nerd out and drive people
We
away,
can talk about that all night
or we
long.
drive people away about the interior of the
Talk
liquor
about off
business.
the rails.
Now we're off the rails for the Barrel Buddies.
Hold on, because I want to get to the chat.
Okay.
Patrick Curry brings up some great points. He said he definitely agrees. Name another 12-year barrel proof out there for $70.
I'll wait.
It doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist. He said, what is that? Old Forester barrel strength is also a solid competitor to barrel proof, although Old Forester barrel strength is no age statement. I will slightly disagree because I think that some of those Old Forester barrel strengths are too hot.
There. And
Almost unbearable.
Some of
I
them are
could be
so
wrong.
good.
But some are amazing. It's
so good.
But it's so hit or miss. I don't think there's any middle ground with those. They're either good or they're bad.
And I believe Old Forester has a mentality of they very much think that bourbon doesn't need to be aged as long as 12 plus years.
Yeah.
Which there's a lot of people out there, and I'm not a professional, in this, so I could be wrong, but that they don't age their stuff as long as Elijah Craig, and that's their philosophy. So you're still not getting that 12 years from them. It might be good and it might be comparable in taste, but you're not getting that age.
David, thanks for joining the show. Join us next week. We're Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific.
See you then.
So we'll see you then.
Thank you, David.
He's signing out, so I just wanted to say goodbye to him because he's a new viewer.
Appreciate that.
New viewers.
Yeah.
New viewers, bud. Ken, thank you for joining the show tonight. It's a
Thanks
pleasure.
for having me.
I was just telling BJ, I wanted to bring you on the show as a fill-in because I think you always bring some great whiskey, bourbon knowledge that me and BJ don't have. I think you complement the show very well. I'd like to bring you on more often.
Yeah. Happy to be here.
That's good to hear. We love it.
Respect what you guys do, and you guys always do a great job.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
I
Thanks.
sincerely mean that you guys work really hard at this, and it's a great show.
There you go. For the Barrel Buddies, I'm James.
I'm BJ.
Why are you doing that glamour shots thing? Why? Did you see some glamour shots thing earlier? And you're like, you do glamour shots?
Look how pretty I look.
Maybe I'll get behind you. I'll do one of these. We're like, Ken jumps in. Okay.
Yeah, Ken, jump in. Jump in. We need a good Insta shot. Yeah.
For the Barrel Buddies, I'm James. He's BJ. That's Ken.
We'll see you
Sign
next
us
week.
off. See you next week.